was a rough day for the stock market. The Dow Jones Industrial Average closing below 29,000 to 28,992 for the week. Ladies and gentlemen, Corona is here, and now it is evolving. In fact, the coronavirus has reached Iran, and I guess they found out that the version that has showed up in Iran is different and has some kind of different genetic makeup than the version that's in China. We don't know what the hell is going on here, but I hope it gets solved sooner rather than later. But hey, let me make my money first. If you took my advice on my episode yesterday, then you got short some of the big leaders that have gotten us to this point, the Apples, the AMDs. I mean, they've taken huge hits and will continue to take huge hits as long as this becomes a problem. I have a future episode coming out where I want to highlight some stocks that nobody is really talking about but have huge exposure to China and that could lose a lot of money. One of them is Nike. Another one is Starbucks. Starbucks, 4,100 stores in China, 57,000 employees. A Starbucks in China is a very dangerous place to be right now. You can lose your life if you go to Starbucks in China right now. We just also found out that the virus has reached Beijing. It is now in Beijing. And ladies and gentlemen, this is a city with 91 universities in this city, millions of people. This could get ugly really, really fast. Corona is now also in Japan. They are now talking about possibly canceling the Olympics in Japan. This also could affect Nike. And that is why I think these are two companies that you really need to be focused on if you want to make a lot of money in the markets. A lot more to come on that in the future. Nike, for all intents and purposes, is only trading where it's at right now because of the money they were bringing in China, period. Full stop. China is what has Nike trading at all-time highs. And a lot of people are wondering, why is Nike being so quiet over the last month and a half? They don't want to be honest about the fact that they are taking a huge hit right now, and they're going to have to make that public sooner rather than later. I've got an expose on that coming up later this weekend. Now, I want to continue this short series I'm doing while we're still in Black History Month, highlighting some dangerous things that I'm seeing happening in our society that are incredibly anti-Black and just blatantly racist. But more importantly, tie them into the financial space because that's what my channel is about. One thing in particular that has been really bothering me lately is eBay. eBay is a company that I've been doing some research on that I believe has significant either upside or downside, but I can't seem to really put my hands on what direction eBay is going to end up going in. If you look at the chart for eBay, particularly on the daily or even the monthly, you'll notice that nobody's really made any money on eBay in the last 2.5, 3 years. You've made nothing. So when this typically happens, eventually a sharp move either up or down will occur, depending on how, of course, management continues to do business. In doing my research on eBay, I found in their filings, they mention how they make a significant amount of income on products that are quote unquote Americana. Now, Americana can be a lot of things. America has a rich history, but at the end of the day, America's history is built on chattel slavery. Right? So you don't get the Industrial Revolution without slavery. You can't afford to fight World War I without slavery. You can't afford to fight World War II without slavery. In fact, you lose World War II if you didn't have slavery because you sent the children of slaves to go and fight and win that war for you. So at the end of the day, when we talk about Americana history, we're talking about Black history, right? We're talking about Black people. So when I go on to eBay and I'm doing research on what exactly is this Americana products that they're selling here and they're making significant amount of money on, I was very disturbed on what I was seeing, folks. And I want to talk a little bit more about that right after the break.
We're trying to get paid.
Making money, make it dollar, dollar.
We're trying to get paid.
Making money,
Make it save and invest, stacking up checks, let's go.
I was re-energized by a recent live podcast of Tariq Nasheed to go back and do some research on these disturbing collectibles that I was seeing being sold on eBay. See, here in North Carolina, particularly in Charlotte, or actually all over the state and all over the South, there are these weird flea markets that pop up every weekend or even sometimes during the week where you go to different tables and there are a lot of different collectibles being sold. The very collectibles that I saw him post on his video were some of the same ones I saw in the flea market. These gentlemen, many of them from the dominant society in their late 50s, early 60s, early 70s, trade these collectibles that are of young black children in very sexually suggestive art or in very sexually suggestive positions. If you have eBay open right now, I want you to go and Google black boy postcards. One thing you will notice, or black children postcards, or black Americana postcards, one thing you will notice is that all of these children, and I'll post some pictures on the screen for you to be able to see, all of the children are shown with their buttocks exposed. In one postcard in particular, there's a couple from the dominant society, and then there's a young black child on all fours playing dice. And in that postcard, you notice the saying that says, "Oh boy, can you throw it?" Now, it's clearly coming from the male who is sitting on the bench towards the black child. Now, I've never seen anybody on all fours playing dice. You'll also notice that the child is in basically a doggy style position, lack of a better word. And it's so telling because it's so indicative of how, as black Americans throughout history have, taken words and phrases to reclaim, right? And we talk about throwing it in rap music and in sexually suggestive moments, during when people are having to, oh, throw it back, Now it just hit me because it was like, whoa, this is where that comes from. This is where that comes from. This is clearly a download. It's not even a download. This is an LGBT, whatever they were called at the time, suggestive wording that if you were part of the society at the time, you knew what he was actually talking about, right? So this is really interesting that it's in your face, but if you didn't know what was going on, you wouldn't be able to tell what's going on in this image. Now, looking back, hindsight is 2020. You can clearly see what's going on here. This is disgusting. This is vile, and this should be banned. This is me jumping in here in post-production. Let me go ahead and get right back to the podcast. All of the children are shown in very, again, sexually explicit ways. Very few times you may see someone that looks like a teenager or of age, but for the most part, these are people who look like these are children. These are children flat out. So it just disturbing to see companies like PayPal, companies like eBay, Visa, MasterCard, American Express being and allowing themselves to use, all right, to be exposed to this kind of filth. And understand, these are well collected. These are very popular. These are sold. I mean, there are literally thousands of these collectibles out there, and people trade them. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying anything a lot of you white folks already know. Most of you already got somebody in your family who collects these very disturbing items. You don't let any black folks into that house because you understand how it would make a lot of black people feel, but you know about them. I'm not saying anything you don't know. But for most of you who are black, you probably don't know these things actually exist. They were made by a company that is now out of business, but has since that did exist, from about the 1904, 05 to the latest I'm seeing cards printed as late as the 1970s. So these disturbing images were produced between the early 1900s and about 1950, 1955. Those are the latest that I can find. And boy, are these big time collectibles. They love this shit, folks. I'm telling you right now, they love this shit. It is disturbing. This should be removed from eBay. It should be removed from PayPal. But I wanted to expose this to you because I want you to know what's actually out here. Another very disturbing thing I want you to look into is I want you to search Black American family photos. Ladies and gentlemen, I couldn't believe it when I saw it. There are people collecting random images of black people. These are random black people. Some of them, I mean, if you look through the results, there are over 5,000 results right now on eBay. Some of them are celebrities, but for the most part, well over 95% of them are people you don't know, I don't know. And people all over the world are collecting these random pictures of black people. Some of them with their families, some of them just alone, some of them just random young women or young men. You know, and these, some of them are old, but for the most part, you see some from like the 1993, 1994. I mean, just random pictures of black people. We are a collectible item for people. Pictures of our children, pictures of ourselves, of our mothers, of our sisters, brothers, other family. People will take these photos and sell them and trade them with each other like baseball cards. I never knew this existed. And they don't go for a lot of money. It's $5 here, $10, $20. But the low price is what keeps the market fluid. That these men will sell and trade these pictures like I used to trade Pokemon back in the day. I don't know some of you guys who are old enough or young enough to remember the Pokemon cards you used to trade with people. That's the same way they trade pictures of your mama. They trading it the same way. Let me also get into and expose that one person or thing that I didn't think existed anymore was the Black Mammy caricature. The Mammy caricature is something that we all kind of just make fun of between each other. But I didn't actually think that this is a person or a thing that is sold as a collectible still in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, if you go right now on eBay and you type Black Mammy, you will find thousands of Black Mammy collectible items being sold right now on eBay. And yes, these things are being bought. Millions of dollars are being made selling this filth, this racist, disturbing. Let me tell you something right now. You can sell the pictures that Nazi soldiers were passing around of Jewish women that they made during that time, that they would sell to each other. You won't find those photos. Those photos have been collected and destroyed. You will not find them. You will not find them. So why is it that photos from 1905, 1910, 1920, 1930 are still being collected and sold of sexually suggestive pedophilic material? And these are companies with $100 million, billion-dollar valuations. Billion-dollar valuations. That if you go to their website, they talk to you about diversity and they talk to you about being honorable and transparent and, we are for the community we build. I mean, but yet you allow this filth to be sold on your website. You allow people to use your cards to buy this shit. The hypocrisy. I'm not going to spend too much time on this disturbing topic. I appreciate you listening. I got a lot more to talk about, a lot more coming. I love you. Please press like, subscribe if this is your first time watching me. Go to my website, millionairetradingacademy.com, if you want to learn how to trade the smart way using high probability options. I'll talk to you later. Till next time, trade well.